Volume and surface area of composite shapes, part 1. So the question here says, calculate the volume of the following shape. So I'm just going to highlight the word volume to remind me what we're calculating. And then I look at this shape, and it kind of reminds me of a shoe. I do notice that it does not actually match any of the individual shapes on our formula sheet, which means it must be made up of 2 or more shapes put together. Now, when I look at the shape, I do notice that there are some straight edges, and I do also notice that there are some curved parts. So because there are some curved parts, that makes me think there must be a cylinder in there, a sphere or a cone, which are our circular shapes. And since it's not rounded all the way around, I don't think it's a sphere. And since it doesn't look triangular, I'm pretty sure it's not a cone. So I kind of think this must be part of a cylinder. And then the straight sides here probably make a rectangle. So I'm going to try to break this shape up. I'm going to try to find where it stops being a straight side and starts becoming a curved side, which I think is somewhere around here. And I'm just going to draw in a vertical line, and then I'm going to try to continue that. I'm trying to match this angle here, going across like that, and then maybe we'll cut down and then across, so that there is a rectangular prism. It kind of looks like a cube, but I need more information to know whether the sides are equal or not, and a piece of a cylinder. Now, how much of a cylinder is that? I suspect that it is a quarter of a cylinder. I'm going to draw just off to the side here. If I have a cylinder on its side, right, like this, which is what I'm seeing in my picture, I'm pretty sure this is just from the center to the edge. It is just 1/4 of that, like that. So I think this is 1/4 of a cylinder plus a rectangular prism. So I think the rectangular prism is probably the easier one to do first, and then we'll tackle the 1/4 of the cylinder. So we are doing volume. I'm going to remind myself of that. And I'm going to look at the picture for the rectangular prism, and I'm going to try to label first what the dimensions are. So this part here is length. So this part here would be length. And then this is width. And then this part here would be the height. And I went all uppercase because I don't like that lowercase l. Okay, so if I just focus on the rectangular prism, I know this part here is 90, which means this part here is 90, which means this part here is also 90. Do I know any other ones? Well, I know from this part here, this is 70, which means this should be 70. And this part here would also be 70 over here. And then for the height, unfortunately, I don't have anything marked. So I'm going to have to do a little puzzling to see if I can figure that part out. So if this part here is 90, I can find this side over here by doing 200, which is the full length, take away 90. So I'm going to do 200 minus 90. 200 take away 90 is 110. Don't have a lot of room there. So I'm going to write that this is 110 kilometers. It just occurred to me, I wrote that as meters up here, and it should be kilometers. Now, because this is part of a cylinder, the radius of a cylinder points the same, it's the same length in all directions, regardless of which way it's pointing. So if this part here is 110, this part here should also be 110. So that means that this section here should be 110 kilometers. And that would be my height. So it would be my height here. It would also be my height there. So I think I'm ready to tackle the rectangular prism. So I'm just going to write RP for short. volume, which is what we're calculating, according to my sheet, is length times width times height. So I know that my length is 90, my width is 70, and my height is 110. I'm going to multiply those together. So 90 times 70 times 110 gives me a big number, so 693,000. And that's kilometers. This is one huge shape. All right, so the volume of my rectangular prism is 693,000 kilometers. Now I need to tackle that part of the cylinder. So we already said that it is about a quarter of the cylinder. So over here, I'm going to write cylinder. So the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. Now, if I look at the picture, and I look at my picture, and I try to label, it's a little hard because the orientations are different, but here is the circle, here is the part of the circle. So this is going to be my radius. My radius is 110, and then the side there, well, it doesn't really matter what way I turn it around. That's the height. So let's sub in our numbers and calculate. So my volume is pi. I'm going to use my pi button on my calculator, times r, the radius, that's 110. It's squared, so I do it twice, and then times the height, which is 70. So I don't have to add anything to this, so I'm just going to calculate this all in one go. So I'm going to do pi. If you don't have a pi button, try using 3.14159, please, times 110 times 110 times 70. And I get 2,660,092. And then this is 0.97, and then the next digit's an 8, so that's going to push that up to 0.98. And that is kilometers, and it's cubed. So down here, I forgot the cube. I need to pay more attention. All right, so to get my total volume, these two shapes are being added together. So I'm going to take the volume for the rectangular prism, the volume for the cylinder, and add those two things together. So I'm going to do 693,000 plus, oh, wait, I forgot to do something. Were you shouting at me this whole time? This is not a full cylinder. It is only a quarter of a cylinder. So I need to make sure that I divide my cylinder by 4. So all of these need to be divided by 4. So lucky for me, I still have the number on my calculator. So I'm going to divide that by 4. And I instead get 665,232.244. So that's just 0.24. So this is going to be 665,232.24 kilometers cubed. So I'm going to write that in. And then add that with my 693,000, which gives me a grand total of 1,358,232.24 kilometers cubed. So I forgot to put my approximately signs in. So that means, therefore, the volume is 1,358,232.24 kilometers cubed. You can watch the next video for help with question number 2.